All right, college football, week 2, underway. A lot of very good games. A lot of games I'm very excited for. In this slate, there's also a lot of games I could not care less about. But that makes for some good betting opportunities. There's some big games that we want to be betting on that are going to be fun to watch. Obviously, the Texas-Michigan game is going to be the first game we're going to yap about on today's slate, as it's just the biggest one that is going to be on everyone's minds. Everyone's going to be seeing it. Everyone's going to be all over it from a betting perspective, not only, but more of just a viewership. Has the most on the line. Michigan's coming in ranked number 9. They might have dropped to 10, actually. And Texas is coming in at number 3 in the country. With that being said, Texas, has a Texas is going to be an interesting play for Texas because they have a very high-powered offense. Taking the -6.5 certified lock. No, I love the -6.5. Like it was 7.5. I didn't like it at 7. If you can get it at 6, I absolutely do. It's going to be an interesting game all around from a offensive perspective for Texas playing against a stifling Michigan defense. But as you can see, just by the odds, like Quinn Ewers' passing yards pretty low, which is kind of baked in. But Quinn Ewers has been doing this against great teams as well. And my problem with the bet and the reason why I am taking it, they don't even have Michigan's quarterback here. So we'll go to here. Davis Warren. Who obviously has not played enough games, so he doesn't really have a background here. Had 118 yards versus Fresno State. But my main point with that was going to be the Michigan offense is so goddamn bad. Like it looked bad against Fresno State. It's not a good start, not a good sign by any means. And now they go to play Texas, who obviously they lost some key pieces last year. But I think they're still bolstered enough, and this offense is still good enough to control the entire clock of this game. Michigan, I'm scared of how they're going to score the rock. They're going to have to run through Donovan Edwards. So, I mean, if you want to take his rushing line, I wouldn't hate it. But I think from an overall perspective, Quinn Ewers is going to see the rock a lot. The offense is going to be on the field a lot. The Michigan defense is going to be on the field a lot. They're going to be able to almost wear this defense out on and on and on again, which should lead to an easy over for Quinn. I think Quinn's going to see the passing attempts. We can look at do they have his attempts lineup? No, they don't. But I think he's going to see a ton of attempts. I think easily over the 32 mark in this game. They have Will Johnson, which everyone's like worried about, but Fresno State last week was able to sling the rock on this Michigan defense. Threw for over 245 yards. Why Quinn wouldn't be able to do it, I don't know. Quinn is a better quarterback. He is a better team. Isaiah Bond now is over there. He looks fucking legit, dude. I think Isaiah Bond's going to be an absolute stud this college season and from here on out. I think he can obviously have a big day. His line is at 54.5, which I think is a pretty good line. Pretty accurate. I probably wouldn't move either higher or lower on that. I'd probably just fade that. 4 receptions, though, it does feel great for Isaiah. I think he can easily smash over that 3.5 line. If anything, I think 4 would be a push at the end of the day. Michigan lines, I'm not really touching much. Maybe Donovan. But again, this offense is so goddamn bad. Honestly, not a bad time to pick Donovan. Dominic. Because I think Michigan's going to get stuck. Like, they're not. I don't even know if Michigan's going to be able to score, dude. It was scary. Like, their offense looked genuinely bad. Like, and the line for a reason is at 150 passing yards. Alex Orgy is a dog. Put him in. Dude, I would rather have him in the game 110%. The only thing I'm worried about for Quinn is that if Texas is winning by a large margin. But here's the thing. I don't know if they're going to be winning by a large margin. Because this defense is going to keep it close no matter what, I think. I think the final, like, my prediction was it's going to end up being a 24-10 game, something like that, where it's just like it's not overwhelmingly high, but it's to the point where Quinn still's definitely going to have to sling the rock, and only 230 yards is not a lot. I mean, we go to the props.cash. I mean, if you just look at Quinn's past, right, he smashes this fucking line, and he's done it against schools like Iowa. Oklahoma State isn't really a tough one, but he's had tougher games, and down the line, he's just absolutely smashed these. Now, again, this is always last year, so we're baking in a completely different season. But I think nonetheless, Quinn is efficient enough. He's going to sling the rock. If you look at his average pass attempts, 31 per game. On the low end, on the absolute low end, it's around 26, 29, 27. I think he still smashes it even if he gets around that mark. As he still hit this when he had those marks as well. 27 versus Colorado, still absolutely smashed with 260 yards. But nonetheless, I think Quinn easily goes over this line. Arch Manning legacy game if he gets in. If he gets in and destroys Michigan, imagine. That would be absolutely crazy. And would be honestly the coolest thing ever. Like, our bet would be cooked, but Quinn goes down, Arch comes in, destroys Michigan. Tell me there's not a better storyline than that. Gets drafted. That would be crazy. He's a talented kid, dude. I just think he's stuck in a shitty situation in Texas right now. But yeah, I love the Quinn play. I think he can easily smash over this line. His line has moved all over the place from 243 to 245 to 235 to 233 to 230. It's literally all over the place. You can't get a pin on it. Which is a good sign, if anything. Like, if they can't figure it out, then we can take advantage of it and try to absolutely smash this line. With the next game, we're actually going to go to... I'm going to skip over some of these other games I don't really care about. I mean, you could talk about Pitt-Cincy. It's a good game, but something I'm not really going to be invested in myself. I don't know enough about these teams. I haven't done my research on either of these teams from a player perspective to really give good player props, so I'm probably going to avoid doing that for today. But Arkansas, Oklahoma State, I do know enough about. And I know Arkansas has the same defensive coordinator as they've had for the past 2 seasons, and they have sucked for the past 2 seasons against the run. So what does that mean? Wow, Ollie Gordon is frozen. Let's see if we can get him back here. Come on, kid. Revive yourself. Revive yourself. We're going to take Ollie Gordon to 128 here. Oh, I should add Quinn real quick to the slip, just so you guys have it in front of you. Ollie Gordon here, 128.5 rushing yards. Again, his line, 126, 125, 130, 133 at one point. His rushing yard line is all over the place, and this feels like the biggest smash of the day. I posted it last night for a reason, and that's simply off the fact that this like has him at 130, 131 here. Why does it say 76? We got to dial in. Should be better. 131 here. I know you guys can't fully see the right side of my screen, but you can see some of the plays. It seems high, but let me give you the rundown. This Arkansas team has allowed 229 rushing yards per game the last 3 games of last season. Not only that, but they allowed 170 yards per game the entirety of last season. Arkansas is horrendous at stopping the run. The season before that, again, same defensive coordinator. This is what we have to pin in on. Same defensive coordinator, 180 rushing yards per game. Ollie Gordon should absolutely destroy this line, hitting this 7 of the last 10 games. And here's the other part that I like. It's a bad defense. They didn't add anybody crazy. They've added zero 4 to 5-star recruits on the defensive end. So I don't think they're really going to have any big super changes over the past season to now to really change much. Plus, we look at the attempts, and this is where I really like it. And obviously, he's home. Sure, you can add those little stats too if you want, but college, I don't think it's as important as it is like the NFL and stuff. But Ollie Gordon, rushing attempts averaging 25 per game, and that is with outliers of 12 and 13 in the script. If there was no outliers, he could be at 27 rushing attempts per game. He saw 27 last game. Obviously, didn't hit this line last game, but they also stacked the box with literally 9 players, which led to Alec Bowman to absolutely go off. Alan Bowman had 200, I think he actually had this exact line, 260 passing yards last game, which I don't really, 267, which I don't really expect him to do again. He doesn't do it much at all. He only does it when they absolutely stack the box. They have to do something about it because Ollie's going crazy. But again, you also have to remember with this Oklahoma State team, and what you won't realize if you're just looking at it on the surface, is Oklahoma State is a team that runs a ton of 12 personnel, a ton of 22 personnel. What that means is 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. But the second running back isn't a running back. It's a fullback. They have a fullback on their roster. If you could point out to me another college football team with a goddamn fullback on the roster that's not Michigan, I'll give you $100. Because there's not fucking many. And Oklahoma State runs a ton of 22, a ton of 12, and they pound the absolute rock out of the football. I think him averaging 25 attempts per game, I think he'll see the probably good old 27 he normally gets today against this bad Arkansas team that, again, allowed 229 rushing yards per game at the end of last season. They had a cupcake to start their schedule. Now they go against number 18, Oklahoma State. I think it could be a bad recipe. I think Ali could have another legacy game. 200 yards in multiple games last year. 160, 160, 160, 130. I think he easily smashes over this line against a bad defense. The equivalence really would be like a Cincy or like a West Virginia in my case, where he could easily smash over these lines. He gets a few big breaks too. He could be off to the races, so I do like that line. Future Falcon. Another school that runs fullback is my community college football team. No, literally though. There are not many. I appreciate you guys being in here. Make sure to like the stream. If you're chilling, vibing, gonna play some bets today. Saturdays are for chilling. I got tea. We're just scripting. We're writing, making TikToks, and having fun, placing some good old bets. And we're gonna be dialing in today, watching a lot of games, and having some fun doing it. Bowling Green versus Penn State. There are some cool, like Nick Singleton could do this on like 2 runs against a team like Bowling Green. He's probably gonna see a good amount of carries today too. The only thing is his rushing attempts are obviously super low, so it's kind of scary, but it's a lean. It's definitely a lean for me. If you can get him, I could look on Underdog right now. If we could get him at a good price, 77, yeah, it's right here. Longest rush here. Oh, they don't have it. Damn. Longest rush would have been a good one because he breaks so many runs. Drew Alar under his lower feels like a great lean as well. This should be an absolute blowout. I'm not expecting much here. Katron Allen's line is a good 61.5. If the Katron Allen wasn't as good as he was, Nick Singleton would average like Ollie Gordon numbers, and I'm not exaggerating. If Nick Singleton got the carries Ollie does, he could easily be fucking around here. He's so good at football. He's also very young. Kyle McCord versus Georgia Tech. Interesting one. Georgia Tech's pass defense is better this year for sure. And, I mean, obviously he made DJ look like shit, but DJ just sucks. So it's a little different. Kyle McCord proved that he doesn't suck. If anything, I would lean probably the higher here, honestly. It's still a high line. Probably would stay away from this game. I don't love everything here. Jamal Haynes is a great running back. Definitely someone that we could see get a ton of touches in today's game against a Syracuse defense that struggled against the run. I would probably, low-key, 22.5 rushing yards in the first quarter feels fantastic. But again, that's if they start with the ball. I think they can control the clock like they have in games 1 and 2. I honestly low-key love this line at 22.5 first quarter rushing yards. I'm not going to place it myself, but it's definitely a lean that I do like if you guys are looking to add something to your slip. Julian Fleming going to pop off today? Yeah, because we faded him last time. That's exactly what's going to happen. He played. Here's the thing with Julian Fleming last week, too, which pisses me off. He played 60% of snaps. He was on the field playing in the slot for most of the snaps. He simply just was not getting the targets that they weren't targeting these slot receivers. The Penn State scheme was kind of forcing Harrison Waltz on the outside to have the big day that he did because the slot would be the decoy guy against this West Virginia scheme that ran a ton of cover 2, ran a ton of cover 3 drop. So it allowed for the slot to kind of be shaded over top in most cases. They also motioned him to the absolute outside and ran an RPO off the slot on the inside. So what Julian would do is start in the slot on the right side, motion all the way over to the left on the outside hash, and then they would run an RPO between Nick, Drew, and have a slant route coming in, or a bang 8 if you want to call it, on the inside. So it's crazy. Yeah, dude played cross country and just ran the whole time. Literally what it was. There's nothing we could do about that, though, Days. That's what sucks. When you get the playing time, when you're looking at college football, really, you're looking at volume. But all these games could end up being 60-point games. Obviously, some defenses are better than others, but in college, it's always a volume game that I play into. So if you're going to get the volume, if you're going to see the percentage of targets, if you're going to see the snap share, I prefer your higher. If you're not going to, it's the opposite spectrum. You're not going to see as many touches. You're going against an elite defense. I'm normally going to take you lower. This is the first day in a long time I've taken 4 hires. But I like a lot of these lines, so I'm going to take the hires on them. College football is a one where hires normally feel better because it's college, but a lot of times you can slam the lowers and get some value there. But for the most part, we're sticking with hires today for today's slate. Avery Johnson's another one we're going to go to. Again, a lot of 12 o'clock games. Avery Johnson, 191.5 passing yards. You can get it at 189 on FanDuel. If you follow me on Pickett, which I don't have the screen thing for Pickett right now, but if you follow me on Pickett, you'll see I got that last night at 189. I love this line. Avery Johnson's a guy that we have really zero film on outside of game 1 against an absolute cupcake where he only passed the ball 21 times. He still had 153 yards in those 21 attempts. I think today's a game where he can go to the 25, 27 mark of pass attempts against a Tulane team that can be taken advantage of in the passing game, giving up over 230 passing yards per game last season. I think Avery Johnson, again, he's a huge recruit coming out of high school. He's a 5-star player. He's a guy that you can rely on to sling the rock. Again, he looks goofy as shit. I don't think he has any drip. Might have negative drip, but he is a really, really good football player. I'm taking the talent here versus a very mid defense. And I think Kansas State has some weapons on their offense to be able to explode for some plays. Obviously, they have the rushing game with DJ Giddens behind him. But some of these receivers, dude, some of them can make some fucking plays. Jace Brown ain't no one to sleep on. And I'm excited to see how this game turns out. Tulane, I think, is going to be just another mid-ass team this year. Again, both of these had cupcakes in week 1. So it's going to be exciting to see when Avery Johnson gets a real game time, full game to sling the rock. We'll see what happens there. But I think he can easily smash over this line. I think it's almost disrespectful how low it is. Simply just because he's a sophomore, we haven't seen enough out of him. Now I'm going to get to the fun game that we all want to yap about, that we want to talk about. Baylor, Utah is not a bad one to bet on, by the way, if you're going to bet. Low key, love the Micah Bernard lines. But again, I'm not confident enough to bet it on myself, so I'm kind of staying away. But this game is going to be just like, I'm not betting on this game, if any. Just lowers all around in this game. Fucking fade, and literally everybody in this game you can fade. This game, the score of this game should be like 7-7. But it's going to be a great game. Iowa State always makes for an absolute banger. Amari and Hampton, I looked at the play. You can lean this over. His longest rush line is fantastic at 24.5 if you want to take that. But we want to get to the Colorado game. Shedeur Sanders versus Dylan. This Kansas State line, I like Jalen Daniels over, by the way. Jalen Daniels. I think it's a good spot against Illinois. General UCF, I'm not paying much attention to. Tennessee versus North Carolina State, interesting game. Nico has some discounts on a few places, so you can look at those. But this is the game of the day. Colorado versus Nebraska. What's the over-under on T-Mac yards? I will look at that right after this. Sorry, I kind of started doing this and then now I'm in the zone. Anyway, I'll get back to that. Colorado, Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, Shedeur Sanders. This is going to be the matchup of the day. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Neither of these teams really have an elite defense by any means. Colorado got absolutely diced the fuck up by NDSU. Now, they're a very respectable team. They're a good team, but they are D1 AA. You have to put that in perspective. Nebraska has added a ton of 4-star, 5-star players. The coaching of Matt Rule in college is drastically different from the NFL. I know we have a bad taste in our mouth of him from Carolina, especially me as a Carolina fan, but he's a great college coach. Led Baylor from a 3-win season to a 10-win season. Led Temple from being absolutely horrible forever to a 10-win season. He takes teams and turns them around. Dylan Raiola is probably going to help do the same thing here in Nebraska. Obviously, the #1 recruit for his class. Slung the rock for 200 yards in the first half of last game. Didn't have to play much of the rest of the game. So, obviously, his passing line didn't go very high. I think he only had finished with 238 passing yards. Shedeur is someone that threw for 440 yards last game. I like both these overs. You're going to take them. Take them. But Dylan Raiola is the one I'm officially taking for I'm not taking him at 239. I actually got him at 233 on FanDuel. But if you want to take him at 239, I think he goes over 250 today. So both of them feel fantastic. This whole Nebraska team has a lot of talent. Dante Dow is more of a power runner, so I'm not really looking at him. Emmett Johnson, again, these two I don't really love, but Ramir Johnson is more of a finesse, fantastic back. I think he's a sophomore as well. Zay Nair had a massive game last game. I expect him to do the same. Jamal Banks is fast as a fuck. 47.5 is his receiving line. He could easily smash this line as well. So there's a lot of speed to counter speed. Colorado is speed. I think Nebraska also has a lot of speed on the opposite side of the football here. I think Dylan Royal can really explode in this game. Colorado was 7th in passing yards allowed last game with over, 375 yards a game? Fucking insane. It was absolutely nuts. I can pull my write-up if I need to. But it was something crazy like that where they gave up a ton of passing yards. 7th most in all of college football last season. They gave up 277 last week to Cam Miller, the quarterback for NDSU, who's a significantly worse quarterback, just objectively, than Dylan Raiola. He's a good quarterback, more experienced, more years, 5th-year guy. But Dylan Raiola, obviously a young guy, but I think he can absolutely dice up a defense. They're probably going to try to bring some pressure, which could leave a lot of one-on-ones, leave Nair open in one-on-ones. I like Nair as a player as well. Obviously, Travis might travel. If he does, it could be tough for Dylan to get used to, but I think Dylan either way has a big game. Probably going to throw a pick or two. So this line definitely looks a little bit juicy as well, but 239.5 yards feels great for the Patrick Mahomes mini-me. Shedeur Sanders as well, obviously killing it. What are the fight over-unders? Laughed my ass off. Shiloh over 2? No, literally, dude. There's going to be... Shiloh gets in... He's so fucking dumb, dude. He pisses me off. He just makes so many dumb decisions. And I understand Deion's his dad, but you can't back up your player like that when you're just pushing guys out of bounds way after the play, taking 15 yards on a 3rd down in the fucking red zone. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? He's also just, like, bad. Like, why he plays, I don't know. The Iggy Elliott freestyle? Facts. I said that way too much in that video. I need to shut the fuck up. But these are the 4 plays for now. I can move my fat-ass dome so you guys can see. Let me move the border, and then let's move me. Dub. So you guys can see me now. What the fuck? Camera, lock in. Jeez Louise. Still a little bit off, but I'll fix that later. All right. You can see the plays now. We have 4 of them. Ollie Gordon, Haya. We have 4 hires today. It makes me feel bad about it, but I feel good about it. You can mix and match whatever you want. I said a bunch of leans throughout the live stream today as well, so if you like any of those leans, you can take them as well. Ollie, higher than 128.5. Quinn, 238.5. Avery, 191.5. And Dylan, these two I really like because they're younger guys. Their lines aren't really set accurately because we don't have enough information on them. But Dylan just going off 200 yards in 1/2 last game. Again, it was UTEP. But Colorado has a very, very bad pass defense. So we'll see how that does. And Colorado up their run defense. They were a little bit better last week. And they got some recruits in and transfers. So they should be a little bit better on the run front, leading Dylan to pass the ball more. Avery Johnson just is a young stud. Sophomore guy. He has legs, though, so he could run for a lot of yards. But we'll see against a Tulane team that should keep it competitive versus Kansas State team. That's just not great overall, but they have more explosive weapons than Tulane. Quinn Ewers playing a Michigan defense, which is scary up front, but I think Texas can handle them pretty well. Overall, as Michigan's offense should barely be on the field because they're horrible. So I think Quinn can control the clock. Isaiah Bond can have a decent game and have over those 3.5 reception lean that I like. And Ollie Gordon playing the Arkansas team that absolutely sucks at stopping the run, 229 yards again. Averaged per game the last 3 games of last season. And over the course of the season, they gave up 180 rushing yards per game. So should be an easy over for Ollie, who's going to see a ton of volume as well. I absolutely love these plays. Daddy, he pushed me? No, literally, though. It's just the fights are insane. Got to exact your mentality between the whistles for sure. No, dude, it's just... Like, it's crazy. I mean, as someone who played college football myself, I understand there's a lot of emotion that goes on. There's a lot of fucking juice. And, yeah, I got my fair share of fucking tussles, mainly in lacrosse. In lacrosse, I was fucking a dickhead. I got ejected 5 times in a season. That was nuts. Anyway, but, like, in football, it's like you just got to, like, next play, next play, next play is all that matters. Reset, next play. And he doesn't do that at all. Shiloh also just isn't that good to be able to do that. Like, if he was a stud, I'd be like, sure, but he's kind of mid as fuck and old as shit. So that's where I'm at. But those are the plays I have for today. Let me know what you guys are going to be playing. Make sure to like the stream on your way out. Love you guys. It should be a fun college slate today. There's a lot of good games on for different reasons. A lot of low scoring. Should be some good defensive games. Should be some high scoring, absolute blowouts. I'm excited to see how everything keeps unfolding in college football right now. I think there's a lot of studs that we can look at for the NFL next year too if you're a dynasty player. But for now, these are the guys we're betting on. Should be a good game. I'm so hyped for the Colorado-Nebraska game. So if you want to tweet at me about shit, I'll be active on Twitter as well at guts045/ or at Nick Guthrie. So make sure to follow there. All right, just bet my entire 401k on this play. Dumb. Yeah, I'll catch you guys next.